to the May 14th meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. The first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you all for coming. We've got kind of a short agenda, but the first item after the pledge is the approval of the minutes from the last meeting. We need the additions, deletions. If not, I need a motion.
Move approval.
And a motion from David.
Second.
Second from Donna. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Passes unanimously. Item 3 is a public hearing. It is legislative, so no one will have to be sworn. William Gregory Construction Inc.'s request to amend the future land use map to redesignate 0.32 acres from M1 medium density residential to CI commercial industrial and rezone 0.32 acres from RM8 multifamily residential district to OCR office. Okay, Stephen.
Good evening, Chairman Hamner. My name is Stephen Dareduff.
For work, you know. Go ahead.
My name is Stephen Dareduff with the Community Development Department.
Can they hear me?
This evening we have a request for a small land use amendment and rezoning is to redesignate 0.32 acres from M1 to CI and to rezone those 0.32 acres from RM8 to OCR. Small-scale amendments are exempt from the twice a year, January and July amendment windows. They are streamlined for review. There are fewer potential impacts usually involved in these situations, and they must be 10 acres or less, and it cannot involve environmental lands. This particular site is located on the northwest corner of 37th Street and Indian River Boulevard, and it's highlighted here in purple. And this at one time was a portion of the larger tract you see to the east of Indian River Boulevard, and it was created when Indian River Boulevard right-of-way was purchased by the county. The county also did attempt at that time to purchase this third of an acre, but the owner decided not to sell. The land use designations for this, we see the city of Vero Beach highlighted in gray, and we have the M1, which is medium density residential district, highlighted in tan, and you will see that the subject property is also in the M1 land use zoning. And then we see that everything else west and south of the subject property is designated as commercial industrial. For zoning, we have City of Vero Beach again in the gray. The RM8, which is multifamily residential, 8 units and 8 per acre, highlighted in the red. And the subject property, the only one west of Indian River Boulevard, is also in the RM8. Directly to the west, you see the OCR zoning, and then all of the yellow hatched area is medical zoning. I took a copy of the survey to create what would be the building footprint. There is normally, it would be a 25-foot setback on Indian River Boulevard, a 20-foot setback on the west, and normally a 25-foot setback on the south along 37th Street, but there is a 35-foot drainage easement there, so they would have to build outside of that. That would reduce this building envelope to 75 feet by 75 feet by 105 feet, which would create just over 2,800 square feet of building envelope. In that, they would require their parking and any other infrastructures. And as I pointed to earlier, this is the 35-foot drainage easement along the south side. The criteria analyzed for a small rezoning like this is, one, is compatible with surrounding uses. We have to verify concurrency is available, that there's no environmental impacts, and the consistency with the comprehensive plan. Compatibility, as I stated earlier, this property was separated from its original residential zoning parcel to the east because of Indian River Boulevard. So it is now sitting as the only residentially zoned property inside of all of the CI zoning. So it would if it was rezoned, it would be compatible to the CI and OCR zoning. Next, we checked with concurrency, and the facility has capacity in all the related facilities, including transportation, water, wastewater, solid waste, stormwater management, and recreation. Now, if any time there was a project proposed for this site, they would do a much more detailed concurrency review. Environmental impacts would be both the same as if it was a house or a business located there. And of course, they would have to do environmental assessment prior to the LDP, so there appears to be no adverse impacts anticipated here. Consistency with the comprehensive plan, future land use element policy 14.3 requires that one of 4 criteria be met to approve a comprehensive plan amendment. In this particular case, these 4 are a mistake in the approved plan, an oversight in the approved plan, a substantial change in circumstances, or a swap or reconfiguration of land uses at separate sites. In this particular case, this property takes the first 3 and meets all of those criteria. So in this request is consistent with the comprehensive plan. In conclusion, the requested land use amendment and zoning is compatible with the surrounding properties. It's consistent with the comprehensive plan, meets the concurrency test, and there's no additional environmental impacts associated, and staff supports this request. And the staff would like to recommend that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend that the Board of County Commissioners approve the request to change the land use designation and zoning as proposed in the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Any questions of anybody in the staff up here?
The 2,800 square foot footprint you were talking about, that has to include the building, the parking, and stormwater?
Actually, I'm Bob Keating, County Community Development Director. The answer is sort of most of those. This is going to be a significant design challenge, regardless of how the property is designated or zoned.
Mother Hubbard came to mind.
Some of the parking and stormwater can go in a portion of the setbacks, but there's not sufficient area in the setbacks to accommodate all of them. I don't even think it can accommodate the stormwater in the area of the setbacks that doesn't have to be a landscape buffer. And then the southern setback is constrained by the 35-foot drainage easement, and parking and stormwater cannot go there. So probably the short answer is the parking will probably have to go under the building. And I'm not sure how the stormwater is going to be handled. It will be an interesting design challenge.
And ingress and egress would be off of Indian River Boulevard?
Actually, we haven't gotten to that point. Right now, there's no good place for it.
They may regret they didn't sell it to the county when they had the opportunity.
Actually, what this points out is really one of the drawbacks with the state's eminent domain requirements. The county did not want to leave this remainder property.
But you couldn't. It was bigger than what you could claim.
Yes, we could not prove necessity for this small remainder, so it had to stay with the landowner, even though back in 1993 the county knew that it was virtually unbuildable. So it just points out one of the drawbacks to the eminent domain laws in the state.
Okay. Any other questions of staff? Is anybody from the applicant care to be heard before I open the public hearing? Excuse me.
Questions you might have.
Okay, thank you. Public hearing is now open. Yes, sir. Come up and state your name and address for the record, please, sir.
My name is Victor DiMattia, 29 Sailfish Road, Vero Beach. Is there a way I can put a chart on? Paper chart?
There used to be.
Okay. Is it appropriate to bring up traffic issues now, Bob?
If you have a question, now's the time. If you have a question, that'll be fine.
Okay. I can probably... Oh, here we go. Let me stand. Let's wait for the chart.
Should be about the same scale.
If we, there's some unique circumstances about Indian River Boulevard right here. From this area right up in here down to the radius of the corner, there's a right-hand turn lane. It's dedicated and it's not restricted by the light. So people come around the corner at 35, 40 miles an hour. When you come around the corner to this point right here, you're forced to merge from the right turn lane into the left turn lane as well. So when you get to that point, you have to merge. From there to the driveway is probably 100 feet. That's less than 2 seconds. So there, for sure, FDOT won't allow a driveway on Indian River Boulevard. If we put a driveway in the first 100 feet after the radius, you're looking at a significant traffic hazard. If that is the only entrance and exit, to exit from there and turn left to get back onto the boulevard is a total disaster, because you're coming through the right-hand turn lane, the left lane, and you're fighting the left turn lane for...
I think we probably all would agree with you. I mean, that's what I think Bob means by a significant challenge. And in all candor, we don't really, it's not necessarily for consideration tonight about this. That would be a site plan issue, but I think tonight, if you have concerns, which I think are clear, that's why I said if you have a problem, go ahead and bring it up.
Well, the reason I bring it up is it's going to cost the man some real money to develop a site plan.
I think, I think so.
Let me go to this one. This is rather brief. Lot area is 14,000 square feet. Easement area is 5,000 square feet. Net area is 9,000 square feet.
Yeah.
It's got to be 10 to be zoned commercial. So that's one reason why it shouldn't be. Net buildable area,
I don't think
I come
that's
up
right.
with 3,300 square feet inside there.
Let's let Bob, let's address the 10,000 square feet
Okay.
first, because I think, I'm not sure that's correct.
Right, the 10,000 square foot criterion is applied to the entire lot area, not the net area. So this parcel is almost 14,000 square feet, which is more than 10,000 square feet. So it does meet the minimum lot size of the OCR zoning district.
Is the easement area deducted from the gross area?
No.
It's not deducted?
No.
Okay,
No.
then it would meet that.
Right, it's gross area, and it's okay, it's misunderstood often.
Yes. But in any event, it's a real problem child. You're right, Bob, it is.
Right.
The reason I got into it was I couldn't believe it. I couldn't figure out how you would get 3,200 square feet on this.
There's no argument with that yet either. So I think that you've got 3,300, and they're telling us, it's 2,800.
2,800.
To something. And
Yes. The reason is I put a 20-foot setback on Indian River Boulevard, and they put a 25.
As Bob said, the reality here is that hindsight's a wonderful thing, and maybe there are other ways to address it, but this is a piece of property the county, because of the roadway, is going to have to deal with. And I think all four of your questions at the end are very legitimate.
It will be very interesting.
I'm kind of thinking of a cell tower like a flagpole might be good there.
I was thinking
Landscaping is going to be interesting too.
yeah. Phil Matson's name was on the issue in the paper, and I thought, it's going to be a bus stop.
I'm glad the owner's not here. He'd probably get upset with us joking about this fine piece of property. But thank you very much for your time. Anyone else in out in the audience care to speak to the issue? Okay, the public hearing is closed. Any more discussion? If not, we need to make a motion.
Well, there's nothing that says that this piece of property can't be sold to the owners of the property to the west of it, and that might be an alternative.
It can, but there are constraints there too. The eastern edge of that property is the upland conservation easement of that site. So really, you can't put a driveway there. You can't put interconnection.
Well, we were good, weren't we? When we do it, we are good.
This property has every problem that you can imagine.
This owner cannot be a happy camper.
Maybe a helicopter pad would work. Go ahead, David, or someone. Anybody got any thoughts? If not, we need a motion, up or down, and I don't see how we can say no, frankly.
Staff recommendation.
Second.
Dr. Cox, second by Jenzy. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed, like sign.
I can't wait to see the plan.
We got this coming back. It might be worth the visit that night. So, okay, thank you all very much. Any commissioner matters? Any planning matters?
Just a few, Mr. Chairman. Stan Bowling, Planning Director. Next week, the Board of County Commissioners is scheduled to consider 2 LDR amendments that you all have made recommendations on, the corridor sign regulations and the temporary suspension ordinance. And I had emailed you all copies of the staff's report. I hope you guys got it.
Your report was good. I just think that you ought to use larger font with bolder letters on our position. Make it a little clearer.
Well, I appreciate those comments. We'll give it all due consideration.
Okay, we'd like to make it clearer where we're coming from.
Understood.
Instead of that little 2-line blip on the bottom,
I'm glad you appreciate the email. I might accidentally leave you off next time. The other item, too, is that next week at the PSAC meeting, the other aspect that was talked about with permanent exceptions or variances is on discussion, so we'll keep you all informed of that particular issue. And then I hope at the next P&Z meeting that we'll have our discussion item on the conditional uses in agricultural areas, so we'll be bringing that back to you. The other thing that I did want to mention was that, and there was one article we had in the information packet on the Senate Bill 360, Growth Management Bill, which has passed the legislature, but the governor has not yet signed, and has a lot in it, most of it dealing with growth management, but not all of it. We'll go into more details assuming that gets signed, but we'll probably be giving you all a little bit of information about that. And that's all that I had.
Okay.
Except, I just lied. Something had come up about the possibility of vacations during summer. If some of you all were, sometimes this is the time of year where you kind of see if a lot of people are going to be gone for a particular meeting, so you might want to do that for a minute or two here.
You need to, in fairness to them, we really need to look ahead and try and figure out, if you're not going to be here, try and give them as much notice as you can. I've told you all about the meeting in July, last of July. I think I'm missing a meeting there, but so just make sure we look ahead, if you would.
We'll have to cancel that one.
No, you won't. I think there'll be a sand mine there that night.
That's mining we are.
I'll be here for that one.
We'll give you some advance notice.
Get our tickets.
Yeah, get here early. Even get her.
No, our tickets to get out of town.
Okay, anything else exciting? Okay. George, any attorney matters?
Nothing tonight.
Nothing tonight. Well, ladies and gentlemen, sorry to say we stand adjourned. We've enjoyed it.